from Newsweek, Joe Biden faces clear evidence he lied in impeachment probe, attorney. And this is just to highlight the idea that while Newsweek has never been the worst among the fake news, this is them kind of creeping back towards sanity. So, Beau Biden lied. I mean, there's a laundry list of things that he's lied about. It's completely corrupt. Karine Jean-Pierre, Jen Psaki, Kamoto, Mayorkas. I mean, the entire establishment is nothing but criminals. But even Newsweek is saying, he probably lied. But nothing's going to happen to him, as we know. According to legal analyst and attorney Jonathan Turley, President Beau Biden faces clear evidence he lied amid his impeachment inquiry. In December, the House of Representatives voted to launch an impeachment inquiry into Beau Biden in a 221 to 212 vote. With members voting along party lines, Republicans allege that while serving as vice president under President Barack Obama, Biden used his influence to improperly support the business activities of his son, from which they suggest he gained financially. The president has said he had no involvement with Hunter's business dealings, which was absolutely crazy. And he just says that. He's just right? Just the other day, he says, I didn't declare Transgender Day of Visibility.
And Mr. Speaker Johnson the other day said Speaker Johnson said you betrayed the tenet of Easter by proclaiming Easter Sunday as Transgender Day. He called that outrageous and abhorrent. What do you say to Speaker Johnson?
He's thoroughly uninformed.
Uninformed how?
I didn't do that.
Bro, we can all see you.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
Right? We know what's happening, but Beau Biden thinks it's still 1986 and there's only a handful of three-letter news agencies and they have complete control of every little bit of information, which is not the case, and that's why they work to censor and eliminate anybody who doesn't agree with them. They're rolling it back a little bit now, obviously with Elon and X. But remember the Rona years where you couldn't say anything. Videos were removed from YouTube. You were getting removed from Instagram, Twitter. They were putting flags all over things because anybody who dared to call out one single bit of, falsehood from the establishment that was tantamount to treason, right? I mean, it's crazy. Oh, the big lie, January 6th. But if you peel one layer off the onion, then they're just ready to, throw out all nuance, all due process, and say that you're a threat to democracy. Republican Representative James Comer proposed in a letter Thursday that Biden appear on April 16th to testify before the committee. Of course, nothing will happen. Comer cited testimony at last week's public hearing from former business associates of Hunter Biden, Tony Bobulinski, and Jason Galanis, in which Comer said their testimony contradicted statements the president has made about his own involvement. And I can't believe I'm defending Beau Biden here, but he genuinely probably doesn't remember, right? And that's why Beau Biden is the perfect vessel, because he's completely controllable. He's completely transparent. He doesn't even know which way the wind is blowing. He literally has to look at his wife and say, where am I going? Where's the steps? What's happening here? Right? So, I think him and his ilk are fully evil, there's somebody behind him even more, right? He is obviously part of it, but he truly doesn't really know what's going on, which arguably makes it worse. But in light of the yawning gap between your public statements and the evidence assembled by the committee, as well as the White House's obstruction, it is in the best interest of the American people for you to answer questions from members of Congress directly, and I hereby invite you to do so, said Comer, a Kentucky Republican who chairs the House Oversight Committee. Bobulinski and Galanis testified during a hearing last week that the president participated in schemes to help Hunter Biden's businesses. The White House has denied their testimonies, and that's all we know that. All they have to do for anything to be true is just say it, right? Just wear it. Doesn't matter. We're not taking questions right now. Just if I said it, so it shall be. Right? Your little boy's a little girl now. Go to the doctor. The doctorb.
I will perform any operation for $129.95. Come in for brain surgery and receive a free Chinese finger trap. Okay, Fred. You tried the best, now try the rest. Call 1-600-DOCTORB. The B is for bargain.
On Friday, Turley, a law professor at George Washington University, wrote on his website that the letter from Comer is clear Biden lied during his campaign and presidency regarding his son's business dealings. Newsweek reached out to the White House via email on Saturday morning for comment. The White House has previously described the GOP's impeachment effort as sad, pathetic, and a waste of everyone's time. Sounds familiar? It is now clear the president lied during his campaign and during his presidency on his lack of knowledge of his son's business activities, as well as his denial of any money gained from China. Now, the committee has laid out the considerable evidence showing that the president had lied knowingly and repeatedly. So, I mean, there was once a time, and that's what makes it so evil, that there was probably once a time when he knew exactly what he was doing was pure evil. But now he's declined so much that he can just, as we see from, was it Her? Says, yeah, well, we didn't charge him because he's a decrepit old man and he just doesn't know what the hell's going on. In response to Comer's letter, the White House pointed to a post on X, formerly Twitter, on March 20th by spokesman Ian Sams, after the Kentucky Republican made the announcement that he planned to invite Biden to testify, which we all know he's not going to do. And even if he did, he's just going to sit up there and say, oh, look at Trump, man. And I guess that's what's really at stake. Why these people are so rabid, so up in arms, is because they're afraid that, and look, I can't believe I'm saying this, but just leave us alone. I am not vengeful. I would like to see a lot of people in an orange jumpsuit behind bars, but it's fine. Just leave us alone. You got a little bit too greedy. Leave us alone. All water under the bridge. I don't want to burn anybody at the stake, but you just gotta go away. Comer knows 20 plus witnesses have testified that the president of the United States did nothing wrong. Sam said in the post he knows that the hundreds of thousands of pages of records he's recovered have refuted his false allegations. This is a sad stunt at the end of a dead impeachment. Call it a day, pal. I'm just genuinely speechless at how they know the gaslighting, they know the projection, they know exactly what's happening, but luckily, or unfortunately for them, it's wearing off. And the spell, the brainwashing you had is all coming to a screeching halt because people can see clearly you are lying to everybody. Meanwhile, Turley noted the White House's response, criticizing it as disrespectful and taunting, adding that it shows there is no interest in the answers. Absolutely. The involvement of a member of the White House counsel staff issuing such a disrespectful and taunting message would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Yet the media has enabled such denial and deflection by showing no interest in the answers to any of these questions. Polls show that fewer Americans say the president was involved in his son's business dealings. A Harvard Capps Harris survey in March found that 56% said that Biden helped and participated in Hunter Biden's business, a 3% decrease from February survey. So people are going backwards and saying, well, Beau Biden did have something to do with Hunter, but now he doesn't. Okay, it seems a little strange, but we know this is Newsweek, so they might want to report a tiny bit of truth, but still go in for the agenda. The downtick was seen among all voters, with the greatest change being with Republicans, of course. Between the February and March polls, 5% of GOP voters switched to the position that Biden did not participate in his son's business dealing. In the March survey, 23% of Republicans agreed with that sentiment compared to 63% of Democrats and 47% of independents. Okay, so there we go. They start out reporting, I guess, a little bit of actual facts, and then at the end say, well, even Republicans know that Beau Biden didn't do anything. And then here's one more, again from Newsweek. Democrats are voting for a Republican in a blue state. Now, why all of a sudden are they going to start reporting things like this? Is it maybe they want they want Republicans to get complacent? Is it maybe they see the entire media landscape is collapsing, so they're starting to tell the truth? I truly don't know. Roughly 1 in 4 Democrats is backing former GOP Governor Larry Hogan's state Senate bid in Maryland, one of the most Democratic states in the country, according to new polling. And I just read a story, I just made a video, actually, about the most and least woke states. And when you go through all of the states, DC included, you'll find that I believe only one actually had a majority of liberals. Even in California, even in New York, most people identify as conservative, moderate, or I don't know, which I guess you could count as liberal because that's exactly what they want, right? If they ask any questions, if they answer any questions, you are no longer going to be a liberal. So for you to say, I don't know, that's the same thing. Hogan, who ran the state from 2015 to 2023, holds a narrow lead over the top 2 Democratic candidates, Representative David Trone and Prince George's County Executive Angela Brooks, according to a Goucher College survey released on Tuesday. Maryland is not usually viewed as particularly competitive state, as heavily Democratic areas near Washington, D.C. and Baltimore typically keep it out of Republicans' reach. Yeah, okay. In the 2020 presidential election, President Joe Biden won the state by 33 points, giving him more than 65% of the vote, one of his strongest showings, and it is not expected to become competitive on the presidential level this year. Of course, the morons in Maryland are going to keep voting against their own best interests, shooting themselves in the foot as bridges collapse and car burglaries are through the roof. Well, you know, Orange Man bad though, right? And you, again, you don't have to like Donald Trump. I'm not encouraging anybody to like him, but there's a clear difference, right? Like there is, first of all, he's funny. Bo Jordan couldn't put together a sentence, let alone a joke if he tried. But there's just things, right? I mean, basic, status quo things that were just better under Donald Trump. And people are starting to realize that, which is why the tables have turned, because they thought they could keep everyone dumbed down with movies and Netflix and Obama propaganda and chemtrails in the sky, but it's just not working. But Hogan brings a level of name recognition and his brand of more moderate politics and staunch opposition to Donald Trump. See, and that's what they say, right? He's a moderate, but he's in staunch opposition to Donald Trump. How? How is that possible? Right? Because Donald Trump is not extreme, but they just have to, if Donald Trump says the sky is blue, they'll say, no, it's not. The sky is orange. Well, I guess the sky could be orange at sunset, but they're just going to, Trump drinks water, then they're going to drink oil, right? Like it doesn't matter. So if you're going to pretend you're moderate and then just have staunch opposition to Donald Trump because what the establishment told you to, okay, it's just wild. His staunch opposition to Donald Trump has historically played well for him among Maryland Democrats, many of whom have backed his gubernatorial campaign since in 2014 and 2018. The poll, which surveyed 800 Maryland voters from March 19 to March 24, found that in a head-to-head race against Trone, 43% of respondents would back Hogan, while 42% would vote for Trone. In that matchup, 24% of Democrats said they would vote for Hogan. If also Brooks wins the Democratic nomination, Hogan's lead grows to 44% over her 40%. In this scenario, 25% of Democrats said they would support Hogan. Maryland Senate candidates react to new poll. And look, it doesn't really matter. My only point here is to highlight the idea that, how is Newsweek going off the plantation like this? Democrats are voting for a Republican. And I guess the reason they're doing that is because...
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Joe Biden faces clear evidence he lied, and Democrats are voting for Republicans. And I think we can all agree that most people aren't going to read past the headline. So where does Newsweek get off doing this? And then here's the last one that I actually read before, but Donald Trump has grounds to sue Letitia James, Fox News guest. So why would Newsweek pick up this story and repeat it unless they were in some weird sort of 4D, 8D chess move trying to undermine Republicans, I suppose, or perhaps they realize that it's all collapsing and the only way they might be able to come out of this unscathed is to start telling a tiny bit of the truth.